This is Tom. Last Tuesday, he pitched to a customer for a $50,000 contract. The pitch went about an hour. He showed him logic, graphs, efficiency ratios. It was a pretty good presentation. Tom thought he nailed it. His nearest competitor, his product cost twice as much, and he felt delivered half the value. A couple days go by. Tom learns he lost the contract. At first, he thought it was on price. Then he thought it was politics. But the problem is, Tom didn't lose the contract because of price or politics. Tom lost because he was selling to the prefrontal cortex, the logic part of the brain. He wasn't pitching to the amygdala. Some people call it the reptilian brain. He lost because he got filtered out. The prospect saw his stuff as boring. Why do we need it? The other company started off by speaking to the amygdala, the flight or fight part of the brain. They focused on fear and helping them understand what would happen if they didn't use their services. He did not lose because he had the better product. He lost because of a sales pitch. If you want to stop losing to inferior competitors, you need to start pitching to the amygdala. You need to start putting to that flight or fight part of the brain. You need to start helping them understand, here's what it's doing, here's what happens if you don't use our product or service, and here will be your results. Help them understand, not through logic, but seeing what they can get. What will the outcome be? And what will the outcome be if you do not use the product? You need to stop pitching to the prefrontal cortex. I'm going to show you 3 companies that did this. They did it with tribalism, fear, and visual cues to show them what the difference would be. First, let's look at the masterclass by Apple. Apple didn't use or show the before and after. What they did is show tribalism, the herd approach. You want to be a part of the herd because staying with the herd is safe. Remember those commercials back in several years ago, which showed this is a Mac and this is PC, and the PC guy was boring and the Mac person was cool and creative?
Hello, I'm a Mac. And I'm a PC.
Guess what? The PCs had better specs. They were faster. From a computer point of view, they were awesome as a laptop. What was the Mac? It was for creatives. They didn't pitch on specs. They pitched on tribalism. Be part of this cool kids group. It's not only for high school, it still works with adults. Apple framed the world into 2 camps, us, the creatives, and them, the boring people. Be with the cool kids, be with the creatives. It was a status symbol. It was tribalism. Stay with us or stay with the number crunchers. And trust me, you've seen it in the offices. Some of the more cool people or hip, they had Macs. Even when I was in a big tech company where we sold at HP, we had our own laptops. You would see the people pull out their Macs to do their personal stuff because of the tribalism that Apple created. But Brandon, we're a boring company. We sell IT services, you might say. 1, boring businesses are great profit engines. Number 2, you still need to pitch to the fear side of the brain. So you have boring IT services. One company was sending out emails saying, hey, we have network maintenance. We keep uptime. They had their typical rate of 1% to 2% on the email campaigns. But then they pivoted. They switched to pitching to the amygdala, the fear center of the brain. We stop the 3 a.m. call that you've just had ransomware on your system and you can't get to your files. That increased from 1% all the way up to 6% response rate on emails. And they started closing more of the people that responded, up to 42% versus 18%, by hitting that fear, helping people understand you don't want a 3 a.m. call. Goes back to the old Hillary Clinton days, even though she didn't win. Who do you want answering the phone at 2 a.m. in the morning? So we've hit tribalism, we've hit fear, and now let's hit the visual clues. Let's take a landscaping company. They were sending out, talking to customers about putting nitrogen-rich fertilizer into the soil. Their response, barely even anybody pushed. Then they switched. Let's go hack the optic nerve. They showed 2 yards. One, brown and dreary on a bright sunny day. The other, paradise, lush grass, flowers growing. The reason is they show the contrast. It wasn't about the nitrogen. Nitrogen is very logical. Put the right fertilizer, you're going to have a green yard. But if people can't visualize it, they can't get that clue. What was the turnaround for them? They tripled the people buying the new product, the new fertilizer, at a better profit margin. Why? Because it wasn't the logical side of the brain, it was the visual side. They wanted to get people to yes faster using visual clues. So the contrast principle is the eyes justify what the brain is telling them. this is the right way to go. So what changed for Tom? He's closing a little bit more now. Why? Because he simplified his message. He started speaking to the fear part of the brain, not the prefrontal cortex. If somebody asked a question, he could go very logical. But he simplified his message because when there's confusion, it's instinctive. Hide from a problem so you don't spend the calories and the time trying to figure it out. Simple messages work very effective. You've seen them. People put up the PowerPoint screen with 8-point font and you're trying to read all the little words. That doesn't work. Attack the fear part of the brain. Get survival. It's tribalism. It's fear and hacking the visual clues. Those are what help sell more than just the logic. It's not about price. It's not about who looks better. You might think that. It's more about attacking the reptilian part of the brain, the amygdala, the flight or fight syndrome. Hit the fear. Show the visual clues. If you like, I have a 20-point neuro audit that you can take a look at your sales deck. Are you attacking the fear part of the brain, or are you trying to be too logical? Put in your information. I'll be happy to send you that neuro audit. Stop being Tom from last Tuesday. Click the link. Subscribe. I'm Brandon Fears, and this is SMB Growth Unlimited.